Hello and welcome back to Imperfect Parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Ben and Brittney here.
Yep.
Loving being with you again.
Always.
I'm talking to them,
Oh.
but I love being with you mostly.
You were looking in my eyes, so I thought that you were talking to me.
I'm always looking in your eyes.
Here's looking at you, kid.
All right, meme us.
I will meme you. I think this one's actually, I showed this to Delaney and she goes, that's Adeline. So I thought it was pretty funny. It is a picture of like a mom gorilla with her hands together, clasped, like she's having a conversation. Very serious, looking at her child. And her child is, pouty face,
Mom.
fists clenched at their side, staring at the mama gorilla. And she's got the face of patience for sure. And it says, that one child that likes to test your gangsta. It does feel like that would have been Addie. I can't remember what Addie used to say. Remember when she used to climb up the pantry to get the snacks?
Mm-hmm.
What did she used to yell at us when I do it myself or something like that? Yeah, that's what she
Dude it. I do it myself.
I do it myself. Everything was I do it myself. No matter what I tried, buckling her in the car seat, putting her shoes on, I would turn around. We took the pantry doors off. I don't know why we did that. I think because they were like little accordion things and they were so awful. So we took the pantry doors off and I remember, I don't know how many times I saw Adeline climbing. It had like 5 shelves and she would gain momentum and she'd be going for the goldfish at the top. And I'd be like, hey, babe, can I help you? I do it myself. Always.
On a tile floor.
Yes. I thought you did it yourself and 7 stitches later. No, she never got stitches, but I was just waiting for that moment.
Random fact about the tile floor is Brittney helped grout that floor.
It's true. 7
months pregnant?
Yeah, my belly dragged on the tile as I was grouting.
It's actually finished the grout. Just kind of drag a belly through it.
Yeah. Lincoln and I are very attached to that tile. We are one with it. I remember being frustrated because I would grout it all nice and then I would pick up one of the little dividers in the corners. I don't know what those things are called. They're like little
spacer
knots and crosses or something like that. Is that what you call it? X's and O's?
Yeah, knots and crosses. You're right.
Yeah.
All right,
anyways,
Anthony.
I would get one stuck on my belly and it would then scrape up my job of grouting or mess it up and I'd have to go back. It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
So don't grout the tile while you're 7-8 months pregnant. It's my words.
Things we did
wisdom.
many years together ago.
That's true. We haven't grouted tile in a few years.
It's time.
Okay, I can't wait.
You're not pregnant.
No.
Right?
Let's not ever do that. Actually, don't even think about getting your hopes up. It's definitely
They're already up.
That is the request that all the lap girls ask. Can you just have one more baby?
One more baby.
While we're all here?
Yeah, that's how it works though. After that one, it's just one more now.
Yeah. If we were to have one, we'd probably have to have 2. But you've been you're out of the business.
Decommissioned.
You've been
Factory's closed.
Yep.
We're moving on.
Oh yeah, we should move on.
Outsourcing.
We're going in a different direction. You're being let go. Oh, okay.
Best movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Question.
Yes. Answer.
All right.
Oh. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to read the question to you. What cell phone boundaries did you or would you do in retrospect of your kids? So what would we have done and what do we do currently?
Yeah, I actually, I want to first mention Darren Whitehead, Dr. Darren Whitehead. We talked about him in an earlier.
Mm-hmm. With Seth. We talked a little bit about this.
With Seth. So he is definitely worth checking out because he just gives this a holistic viewpoint, just as far as devices in general, social media, all the things surrounding this. He is diving deep into this thing and really helpful. He took our church on he instigated our church based on his book he wrote, went on a digital fast. So there's just some stuff that would be really helpful. Darren Whitehead is actually an Aussie who lives in Tennessee. He's pastoring a church, done some great stuff. So that's my first thought is go check that out.
I mean, here's some of the stats that he told us that are fun. Adults on average spend 5 to 6 hours a day on a device.
Yep.
Teens are 7 to 9 hours.
Yep.
Crazy. And that one of the biggest struggles that's happening right now is with like teenage girls. Their comparison and their self-worth and image is being more rocked because of the world of social media than ever before. It's kind of wild.
The largest subset of mental health problems and issues is tween and teen girls because of what social media and devices is doing to their mind and their self-image and their self-esteem. So that's if
he's super fun to listen to and all that.
So just take some of that information first as you consider this conversation and think about what it's doing to your child when they have zero boundaries or zero supervision around it. If they're spending 9 hours a day, that's a full-time job.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, but for us, we've talked numerous times about Delaney. We felt like we were permissive in that we gave it to her too early. She couldn't handle it. And she was this age we're describing. She was the 13, 14, 15. So she wasn't ready for it, and it showed right away.
Yeah.
And it caused problems, so we had to actually take it away. And then with Adeline, she's like, I'm not my sister. I'm different.
I think Delaney was 12 when we gave her a phone.
Yeah.
I think she was 12. And it was like didn't have social media or anything like that. It was a super basic, didn't really have data at all. And then it grew a little bit. And then she lost privileges. Remember, we went back and forth. She had Instagram for a little bit when she was a little bit older. I would say she was probably about 13 or 14 when she got Instagram the first time. Then she lost that. I mean, she again, what we did wrong was that. So we wouldn't have done that. Had we probably paid attention to it a bit better. Where Adeline got her phone when she turned 14. Again, a bit of limited access to some things of what was on there. She shares an iCloud account with her brother. So those text messages come through are all shared for kind of accountability. Bark is a kids protective thing, like a can't think of a cyber. Why can't I think of it right now?
Security system, cyber security.
It looks for bullying, self-harm, obviously pornography stuff, profanity even. It flags some things that she's, Pinterest page she's had of different things that are like, it's vibey sunsets and all these things, and it has a bad word in it. It'll flag that. She doesn't have social media still for this reason. I think that it has not felt worthy of that. So those are the things we learned from the first round, second round. Lincoln's 12. We've jokingly said that if Delaney got it at 12, Adeline got it at 14. Lincoln, you can't have till you're 16. I mean, I don't know that it's quite that cut and dry.
He loves when we say that.
It's just kind of funny that's kind of the.
I think one of the biggest boundaries for us, and this can be hard when there's some training in them having free reign with the device. One of the things for us is that the interpersonal connection is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So when this thing begins to take precedence over that, this thing needs to go away.
Right.
This thing loses authority and power in our life more and more when it starts to take over. And so that's one of the biggest boundaries we have. I think that there's other considerations, that there's other things to this conversation you should be looking at. And people like Darren Whitehead are doing a great job laying it out clear for us. But I think that's probably one of the biggest ones for me is when you start replacing our relationship with something else, especially something on that glowing rectangle, that just lost importance.
Right.
That is not that important. This is way more important, our relationship. So we'll be protecting that. And when you can protect that and prioritize this, we can have that conversation again about the rectangle.
And I would say that every kid has been different as far as knowing their personality,
Right.
Knowing their tendencies. We haven't quite done a one rule to rule them all type of approach. I know it's a spoof on Lord of the Rings, but I just don't think that is realistic.
Doesn't translate.
Fully. I mean, I just they all have different needs, and so we're constantly. And I think the other thing is it's not just one thing forever, because it does change and grow, and they change and grow, and poor decisions, great decisions. So we're navigating that. So it's a fluid conversation, I would say. And
they all handle freedom different too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like one rule to rule them all. Like you can't just say, they have an online school, and so a lot of their kids, the
community,
their communities at different hours and different things. So we're always adjusting to that when they do want to connect with them. So again, I can't just say everything's done by this or nothing's on until this, because again, it's the fun part of being on an awesome school like Valor Global Online is they're all different time zones.
Yep.
But cool. Should we talk about our wonderful sponsors?
Absolutely.
Our wonderful sponsors over at rinseforbaby.com. And if you put the promo code Imperfect Parenting, you get 10% off. If you don't know what they are, they're a fantastic family-run organization that are kingdom-focused, that are trying to bring excellence and quality to their services, which they help provide a place of convenience when you go to travel with your kids. Whether you're landing in Florida, going to Disneyland or the beach, or you're going to Washington to see grandma, they want to help you by not having you lug around a bunch of stuff. Or maybe you're going to see your fun Aunt Mildred and she doesn't have any kids and you need some toys for your 3-year-old. They could even rent those out in, I don't know, Arizona. I don't know what states they're in, but they're in 30 of them. So they have lots of options for you, and it's totally worth checking out. If you're interested, again, you're supporting kingdom families that are running this business. So it's worth looking into if you're going on a trip anytime soon with little ones.
Really helpful.
Cool.
Especially if Aunt Mildred in Arizona doesn't have any kid stuff.
Right. I'm really good at making up things.
All of a sudden I'm in this story. I'm like, what does she look like? What kind of car does she drive?
She wears a muumuu.
Totally. That's what I saw.
And she drives a Mini Cooper.
No, she drives a 77 Cutlass Supreme Avocado Green.
You were talking about your car. But yeah. You ain't Mildred?
I don't have that car anymore. It was a boat.
It was.
All right.
Why is love the greater priority than obedience? Why are we chasing after love instead of just obedience in our home?
Because. That's like your fourth movie you quoted in this one episode.
Oh, the wonderful things it does.
So
I'm making it work.
Let's go.
Though.
I like it. Let me start here with this conversation. I was preparing a little while ago, actually for Taiwan, and I was thinking about the levels of leadership that John Maxwell. It's like I had John Muleisen, who's my pastor.
Jingleheimer Smith. No.
If you're listening, would you stretch your hands out to Brittney right now? God works in mysterious ways, so he hears your prayers. You're funny.
I'm in a silly mood. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
John
Ashley's
Maxwell.
enjoying it. You almost did it again. John Maxwell. Yep. 5 levels of leadership.
It's a great book.
And he just talks through these different levels. Really helpful. I won't go through them right now for the sake of time. But as I started looking at that, I started thinking about the 5 levels of leadership in our home and the 5 levels of leadership of parenting. And when I looked at it, the first level in John's is permissive. Positional.
That sounds like my parenting stuff.
Positional leadership, meaning that someone's a leader in your life because they have a position.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that feels like obedience for me. That's the lowest level of leadership. It's important. it needs to be part of the process, part of the building blocks, but it's the lowest level of leadership is compliance and do what I said.
Yeah.
We need obedience to have a functional home, to have a healthy family system going on here. We need you to obey. We need you to do what we need done. If the dishes never got washed because the kids never obeyed that request,
You'd be on the hoarder show.
You'd be on the hoarder show.
That's what would happen.
So I don't want to paint the picture that obedience is bad. It's just a lower level. So there's more levels to aspire to in our leadership in the home.
How I wrote that out was if obedience is the only goal, then we've lost their hearts. And we've moved them away from ours.
Yep.
Because as you grow your kids up into this space of like, they're going to leave the home eventually. And obedience was my only goal. When they go away from me, they didn't have my heart and I didn't have theirs.
Yep.
So there's no requirement to stay participating in this relationship because the only requirement to be in this relationship was that I obey you. Because I never made space to have an intimate relationship with you. And so as they leave, everything goes. And I don't get what it is that I want as you mature and go away. And I think this happens long before they actually even move out of the house. But if obedience is that only goal, that's how you lose their hearts and you move your own away from them.
Yep.
And it's just it's a dangerous goal to have as the main thing. And as parents, we get fixated on obedience because, we want the house to function. We need things to be done. And I get it. Believe me, I am that person. I want those things done. I have great to-do lists. I love that half of the wall upstairs is a whiteboard. I love that. But I have a connection with my kids first that brings them into a place of a relationship where they go, okay, I want to nurture the needs that mom has.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to clean the inside of the trash can upstairs that's got gnat flies coming out of it from who knows what they stuck in there. It just happened
last year. Yeah.
It's just like last night I've had him do it.
Meaning it started last year.
Yeah.
The mess.
Probably.
Yeah. I think just this idea of building a connection with our kids. When parents come to us and in Q&A sessions, they often say things like, they don't listen to me. They're not complying with what I need, or they're just so disobedient. One of our first questions back is often, what level of connection do you have with your child? Well, not very good, but they won't do what I say. Okay, well, let's pause for a minute on that one.
Yeah.
Go back and work on the connection. Because that's going to actually set them up to, we mentioned this verse in a earlier episode, but Jesus says the famous words, if you love me, you'll obey my commandments. There's a flow to that verse, and it starts with, if you love me. If we've worked on a relationship and love's gone deep, you actually want to please me. Which is kind of a funny concept to even talk about, that our kids want to please us, but they do.
No, they definitely do.
We want to please our parents. We want our parents to be pleased with us.
I would say
to be
still
proud
as
of us.
adults, that's still happening.
Yeah.
Because we have a good connection with them.
Right. We want to please our Heavenly Father. It's wired into us. So that's in there. But if they feel forced, punished, obligated, this have to thing because, I'm obeying so I don't get in trouble. I'm obeying so I don't receive punishment. Then we're creating a different world where we're losing their hearts, just like you talked about. I think it's a beautiful picture that really is the heart of this conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, connection is like it can either be a kite string, which is this frail thing that snaps at the gust of a wind, or it can be this deep sea line that can take on a shark or, 400-pound halibut at the bottom of Alaska.
Yeah.
I think that your strength of your connection is what you put into it. It's what you foster, what you prioritize, and what you protect. And so if obedience trumps connection, I'll get the bare minimum. I will most likely be producing a bunch of fear and punishment to get that obedience. They're not moved by love and connection to give me that obedience. So I want to develop something that can weather all kinds of storms. I want something that, when that really hard decision comes and I've got to pull hard on this connection because you're afraid, you don't like the hard boundary that's coming. I want to know that I've put in the work to build this connection, because ultimately, love's going to win. Yep. It might take its time and patience, but that's going to win 100 times more than just obedience in this relationship.
Love remains.
Yeah.
It says in Corinthians. Yeah.
I also think that it takes it takes the courage to be able to pursue connection, because it's sometimes like, I really want to talk to you about your messy room right now. I really want to talk to you about the fact that I've asked you 3 times to clean up this room and you haven't done it yet. But I can tell that we're clearly disconnected. And if I go after this room, I'm not going to make any progress.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to come out of this. So I have to be willing to look at, do I have enough courage to put down the agenda of obedience and pick up love and humility and go, what's going on?
Yep.
What do you need from me?
I'm sitting and thinking about the people in my life, different leaders, even my parents at different points, that when I felt believed in, when I felt like they cared about me personally, when they chose me to be around me, to pour into me, it yielded something different in our relationship. Sure. Rather than you just telling me what to do. Yeah. So like there's teachers where I'd walk in the classroom and you just boss me around for 40 minutes and I have to do what you say, or I get an F or whatever it is, but there's no relationship. That's not really a lasting experience. But the teacher who's like, will take the time and communicates that they're for me, they believe in me, that's a different motivation shows up. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we want to create in our home and with our children, that when they're long gone, that fishing line's still reeling out there, that we're still connected.
Yeah.
Meaning they're adults, long gone, not like they left us.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
That's good stuff. I think, again, obedience feels temporary where love feels eternal.
That's right.
And I don't want to settle for this temporary experience in my relationship. I want something that feels eternal. And I want something that feels lasting, of legacy. So I have to be willing to put down my my needs for obedience, even in my tension of wanting control, and pick up this willingness to love past all that.
I want to end today actually praying for our listeners.
Great.
Just this thing you described, even that one little phrase, that obedience is temporary, but love is eternal. That eternal kingdom. So, Jesus, we just thank you for those that are listening today at the right time, in the right part of their journey, God, that this really would be a moment where the eternal kingdom breaks in, that love himself would show up and put on display the power of us living from that perspective, from that paradigm. God, that any place where fear or punishment or control, God, is trying to break in and make obedience the supreme leader in our home, that it would leave right now. That fear gets chased away by love increasing in this home, that love really is the thing that remains and that wins in this relationship. God, forgive us for any place where we have got this backwards. And Lord, teach us how to show up as courageous leaders, filled with love. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. We'll see you later, guys.